If you've been told that eating meat is bad for your blood sugar, you're not alone. Every day, millions of diabetics are left confused about what they're allowed to eat. Some say red meat is dangerous. Others say to go plant-based. And meanwhile, your glucose numbers keep swinging up and down no matter what you try. But what if the problem isn't meat itself? What if the real issue is that nobody ever told you which meats actually support blood sugar stability, and which ones quietly make it worse? In this video, you're going to discover the truth. You'll learn about 7 specific meats that can help lower your blood sugar naturally, support insulin sensitivity, and give your body the fuel it needs to stay strong, lean, and energized, all while keeping your glucose in check. We're not talking about cutting out meat or living on salad. We're talking about real food, delicious, protein-rich meals that work with your metabolism, not against it. Because here's what most people get wrong. Not all meats are created equal. Some are packed with nutrients that support your pancreas, balance hormones, and keep you full for hours. Others are processed, inflammatory, and secretly pushing your blood sugar higher than you realize. So before you remove meat from your diet, or give up on managing your diabetes naturally, stay with me. This might be the most important list you'll ever hear. But first, let's talk about why meat matters at all when it comes to blood sugar. Many people think that only carbs raise glucose, that if you avoid bread and sugar, you're safe. But the truth is more complex. The type of protein you eat, how it's prepared, what it's combined with, and when you eat it, all of these can affect how your body processes glucose and insulin. And for people with type 2 diabetes or insulin resistance, the quality of your protein is absolutely critical. Low-quality meats can cause inflammation, increase visceral fat, and even trigger insulin spikes through a mechanism called gluconeogenesis, where your body converts excess protein into sugar. But when you eat the right types of meat, in the right context, your body responds in a completely different way. It stabilizes, you feel full longer, your cravings disappear, your energy returns, and your glucose levels finally start to flatten out. But that only happens when you know which meats support that stability, and which ones quietly sabotage it. So let me ask you something. Have you ever felt confused at the grocery store, staring at the meat section, wondering what's safe to eat? Have you found yourself avoiding red meat even though you love it, just because someone on the internet said it was bad for diabetics? Have you ever tried switching to more vegetables, more grains, more plant protein, only to feel hungrier, weaker, and more frustrated? If that's you, this video is your turning point, because meat isn't the enemy. In fact, the right meats can be one of the most powerful tools you have to regain control over your blood sugar and your health. But the key is understanding the difference between blood sugar-friendly meats and blood sugar spiking ones. And don't worry, we're not going to give you a boring lecture or make you memorize complicated charts. We're going to walk through this list together, one meat at a time, and explain exactly what it does to your body, how it affects your glucose, and why it's either helping you or hurting you. We'll talk about lean poultry, fatty fish, cuts of beef most people overlook, and even some controversial options that might surprise you. We'll explain why some meats promote insulin sensitivity, reduce inflammation, and support steady energy, while others disrupt your metabolism, stress your liver, and leave you tired, hungry, and more insulin resistant. We'll also reveal the best ways to cook meat to avoid hidden spikes. Because did you know that grilling versus frying can have completely different effects on your insulin response? Or that adding the right side dish to your meat can actually reduce your glucose spike by 30% or more? You're going to walk away from this video with clarity, confidence, and a clear plan for what to eat and what to avoid. And we're not here to shame anyone. You don't have to go vegan. You don't have to fear red meat. And you certainly don't have to give up the foods you love just to get healthy. You just need to make a few intelligent choices, ones based on how your body actually works, not on trends or fear. Because the truth is, your body loves nutrient-dense, high-quality protein. It helps rebuild muscle, stabilize hormones, repair tissues, and, most importantly for diabetics, it helps blunt glucose spikes when paired with the right foods. But too much of the wrong meat can do the opposite. That's why this video matters. It's not just a list. It's a roadmap for smarter eating. It's the end of confusion. And it's the beginning of a more empowered, enjoyable, and sustainable way to eat with diabetes. So whether you're newly diagnosed, trying to reverse prediabetes, or just looking to optimize your numbers without sacrificing flavor, you're in the right place. In the next section, we'll start breaking down the list, beginning with a meat that most people already have in their kitchen. But almost no one is cooking it the right way for blood sugar control. And by the time we reach the 7th meat, you'll know more than most doctors tell their patients. So don't click away. What you're about to learn could change how you eat and how you feel for the rest of your life. Let's dive into the first meat on the list, and why it might be the easiest upgrade you can make to your blood sugar today. Let's start with one of the most underrated meats for diabetics, skinless chicken breast. It's lean, it's versatile, and most importantly, it's almost pure protein with virtually zero carbs or sugar. But here's what makes it powerful for blood sugar control. Chicken breast digests slowly, helping you feel full for longer without spiking your insulin. It doesn't overstimulate your pancreas. It keeps your glucose curve flat, and it helps you avoid the mid-morning or mid-afternoon crash that sends most people running for snacks. The key is preparation. Fried chicken? Not diabetic-friendly. Breaded chicken? Dangerous. But grilled, baked, or air-fried chicken breast with a touch of olive oil and herbs, that's a metabolic powerhouse. And when you pair it with fiber-rich vegetables like broccoli or spinach, the results are even better. Your post-meal glucose stays stable, your energy stays up, and your hunger stays quiet. But don't just eat chicken because it's low-fat. Eat it because it gives your body high-quality, usable protein that doesn't mess with your insulin. Now, let's talk about the second meat on the list, one that often gets overlooked, but it's arguably one of the best meats diabetics can eat: salmon. Salmon is rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which are anti-inflammatory and support insulin sensitivity. These healthy fats don't raise blood sugar. They do the opposite. They help reduce chronic inflammation, improve blood flow, and protect your heart, which is especially important for diabetics at higher risk for cardiovascular problems. But here's what most people don't realize. When you eat a fatty fish like salmon, your glucose response to the entire meal is lower, even if you include some carbs on the plate. Why? Because fat slows gastric emptying, meaning food digests more slowly. That leads to smaller, smoother glucose rises instead of sharp spikes. And unlike processed meats, salmon is naturally clean. It doesn't need additives, fillers, or sugars. Just season it with lemon and herbs, bake or pan-sear it, and you've got a meal that fuels your body, supports your brain, and keeps your blood sugar happy. But don't limit yourself to just salmon. Other fatty fish like sardines, mackerel, and trout also deliver similar benefits. Just avoid canned versions packed in sugary sauces or vegetable oils. Now let's move on to the third meat, one that's often feared but deserves a place in your diabetic meal plan: pork tenderloin. Not bacon, not ham, not sausages. We're talking about the lean, clean, whole cut pork tenderloin. It's incredibly high in protein, very low in fat, and when trimmed and cooked correctly, it's one of the most blood sugar-friendly red meats you can eat. In fact, studies show that lean pork can help with glucose metabolism and even reduce insulin resistance when used in place of processed meats. It's also rich in B vitamins like thiamine, which plays a direct role in glucose metabolism and nerve health, two major concerns for diabetics. So why does pork get a bad name? Because most people associate it with processed products that are loaded with nitrates, sodium, and sugar. Things like bacon, deli ham, and sausage patties. But pork tenderloin is different. It's whole, it's clean, it's natural. And when grilled or roasted with the right spices, it's just as lean as chicken, but with a richer flavor and unique nutrient profile. Here's how to make it even better for blood sugar. Slice it into medallions. Sear it lightly in olive oil. Serve it with roasted cauliflower or a leafy green salad. No sauces, no breading, no sugar. Just a simple, satisfying, protein-dense meal that leaves you full, stable, and energized. And don't be afraid of variety. One of the reasons people fall off diabetic meal plans is boredom. The same chicken every day, the same bland vegetables. But when you learn how to rotate proteins like chicken breast, salmon, and pork tenderloin, and prepare them in creative, flavorful ways, you actually look forward to your meals. And that emotional satisfaction is just as important as the nutritional content, because managing diabetes isn't just about avoiding spikes, it's about building a lifestyle you can stick with. And when food feels like a punishment, it doesn't last. That's why this list is so important. It shows you how to create meals that are not only effective, but enjoyable. And that's the secret most doctors and dietitians forget. You have to enjoy the process. Because if it feels like torture, your brain will find ways to quit. But if you feel satisfied, nourished, and in control, the game changes. You're no longer surviving. You're thriving. So let's recap what we've covered so far. Skinless chicken breast, high protein, zero carb, glucose stabilizing. Salmon, omega-3s, anti-inflammatory, insulin supportive. Pork tenderloin, lean red meat, rich in B vitamins, metabolism friendly. These are not diet foods. They're smart foods, designed to work with your biology instead of against it. And the best part? They're easy to find, affordable, and simple to prepare. In the next section, we'll continue the list with meats 4, 5, and 6, including a premium cut that's often misunderstood, a holiday favorite that deserves a second look, and a surprising type of meat that might just become your new secret weapon for glucose control. So don't go anywhere. What's coming next could completely change how you feel about meat, and about your blood sugar. Let's move on to a meat that often causes debate. Filet mignon, also known as beef tenderloin. Yes, it's red meat. Yes, it's a little more expensive. And yes, it can absolutely be part of a diabetic-friendly meal plan when used correctly. The reason filet mignon stands out is because it's one of the leanest cuts of beef available. It's low in saturated fat, high in protein, and rich in nutrients like iron, zinc, and vitamin B12, all of which play a role in blood sugar regulation and energy production. More importantly, filet mignon digests slowly and keeps you full for hours. It doesn't contain hidden sugars. It doesn't cause sudden glucose spikes. And when you combine it with non-starchy vegetables and healthy fats, it becomes a balanced, blood sugar-friendly meal that feels indulgent without being dangerous. The key here is portion control. You don't need a massive steak to feel satisfied. A small to medium portion, around 4 to 6 ounces, cooked medium or medium rare with olive oil, garlic, and herbs, can be both satisfying and metabolically smart. Avoid heavy sauces, butter glazes, or carb-heavy sides. Instead, think grilled asparagus, roasted Brussels sprouts, a side of avocado, real food, real flavor, real balance. Now let's talk about meat number 5, one that's often forgotten outside of the holiday season: skinless white meat turkey. Turkey breast is one of the cleanest sources of animal protein available. It's incredibly lean, it's naturally low in calories, and it has 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and 0 hidden ingredients, if you prepare it right. It's also rich in tryptophan, an amino acid that helps with mood regulation and sleep. And believe it or not, sleep quality has a direct effect on fasting glucose and insulin sensitivity. People who sleep poorly tend to wake up with higher blood sugar, even if they ate perfectly the day before. That's why turkey can be such a smart option for evening meals. It keeps your glucose stable. It helps you feel full, and it supports better rest, which in turn helps you manage blood sugar better the next day. The trick is to avoid processed turkey products like deli slices or pre-cooked turkey meats loaded with preservatives and sugar. Instead, buy a fresh turkey breast. Season it with rosemary, thyme, a little olive oil, and sea salt. Roast it gently, slice it thin, store it for quick, easy meals that support your goals. Now let's move to meat number 6, one that surprises a lot of people: duck breast. Yes, duck. Most people don't think of duck as a diabetic-friendly meat. They assume it's too fatty, too rich, or too indulgent. But in reality, duck is loaded with healthy monounsaturated fats, similar to those found in olive oil and avocados. These fats have been shown to support blood sugar control, reduce insulin resistance, and lower inflammation. Duck is also high in protein and B vitamins. It digests slowly, reduces hunger, and pairs beautifully with non-starchy vegetables. Of course, like everything, preparation matters. Skip the fried duck. Skip the sugary orange glaze. Instead, score the skin, render the fat, and pan-sear the breast until it's crispy on the outside and juicy on the inside. Then slice and serve it over steamed greens, sautéed zucchini, or roasted cauliflower mash. It feels gourmet, it tastes amazing, and it works beautifully with your metabolism. Now, you might be wondering, why include duck when it's not as common? Because variety matters. When you rotate your proteins, your meals become more interesting. You get different micronutrients, you avoid food fatigue, and you're more likely to stick with your eating plan long term. So let's pause and look at where we are so far. You now know that chicken breast is your lean, reliable base. Salmon is your omega-3 powerhouse. Pork tenderloin offers clean, red meat nutrition. Filet mignon gives you rich flavor with smart fat balance. Turkey breast supports nighttime glucose and sleep. Duck adds healthy fats and gourmet variety. These 6 meats are more than just ingredients. They're tools. Tools you can use to create balanced, blood sugar stabilizing meals that nourish your body, satisfy your cravings, and help reverse insulin resistance over time. But there's still one more meat to go, and it might be the most surprising and most misunderstood of them all. This final meat isn't popular, it's not fancy, and some people hesitate to try it, but when prepared correctly, it might just be the most nutrient-dense and metabolically supportive meat on this entire list. We'll explore that one in the next section, along with how to build meals around these meats for maximum blood sugar control. You'll also learn what types of meat to avoid, even if the label says healthy, because not all proteins are safe, and some will quietly raise your glucose, increase inflammation, and sabotage your progress without you even realizing it. So stay with me. We're almost there. What comes next could complete the picture and give you the clarity you've been waiting for. We've reached the final meat on the list, and it might surprise you. It's one of the oldest, most traditional sources of nutrition in many cultures, yet today it's often ignored or misunderstood. We're talking about organ meats: liver, heart, kidneys. These might not sound appealing at first, but they are some of the most nutrient-dense foods you can eat. And for people struggling with blood sugar control, insulin resistance, and energy crashes, they offer a powerful solution that few are talking about. Let's focus on beef liver for a moment. It's packed with vitamins A, D, E, K, and B12. It contains iron, zinc, selenium, and choline, all critical nutrients for blood sugar metabolism, nerve health, and liver function. Why does this matter for diabetics? Because your liver plays a central role in regulating glucose. If it's overloaded, sluggish, or undernourished, it can dump sugar into your bloodstream at the wrong times, especially overnight or during stress. Supporting your liver with the right nutrients can help stabilize your fasting glucose, reduce inflammation, and improve insulin sensitivity across the board. And here's the best part. Liver contains almost zero carbohydrates. It's pure nutrition, without sugar, without processed ingredients, and without hidden insulin triggers. But how do you eat it? Start small. A few bites sautéed with onions and herbs. Mix it into ground beef, or try liver pâté spread on low-carb crackers or veggies. It's rich, yes, but it's also deeply nourishing. And for some people, including organ meats just once or twice per week leads to noticeable improvements in energy, mood, and even blood sugar readings. Now let's take a step back. You've just learned about 7 powerful meats, each one offering unique benefits for people managing type 2 diabetes or insulin resistance. You've seen how lean proteins like chicken and turkey support steady energy. You've learned how fatty fish like salmon help reduce inflammation and improve insulin function. You've seen how specific red meats like pork tenderloin and filet mignon can work with your metabolism, not against it, when chosen carefully. You've explored less common options like duck and organ meats, which provide valuable nutrients and metabolic support that go far beyond the basics. But just as important as knowing what to eat is knowing what to avoid. Because not all meats are safe for blood sugar, and some of the most popular options in the modern diet are silently damaging your metabolism every day. Let's talk about them. First, processed meats. These include bacon, hot dogs, deli meats, sausages, and anything that comes in a package with more than 2 ingredients. They're usually loaded with sodium, preservatives, additives, and often even hidden sugars or starches. Even when the label says low-carb or keto-friendly, many of these products contain ingredients that trigger inflammation and interfere with insulin signaling. And remember, inflammation is one of the root causes of insulin resistance. If your body is constantly under inflammatory stress from poor quality meat, it becomes harder and harder to stabilize your glucose, no matter what else you're doing. Next, avoid breaded or deep-fried meats, whether it's chicken tenders, pork schnitzel, or fried fish fillets. These foods are cooked in unhealthy oils, coated in refined carbs, and stripped of their nutritional value. They create sharp blood sugar spikes, overwhelm your pancreas, and promote visceral fat, the kind of fat that sits deep around your organs and drives insulin resistance. Stick to grilled, roasted, or pan-seared methods. Choose olive oil, avocado oil, or ghee. Stay away from seed oils like corn, soy, or canola, especially at high heat. Another mistake is relying on mass-produced burgers or mystery meat. Fast food patties often contain fillers, binders, preservatives, and low-grade meat scraps. They might taste good. They might look like meat, but inside your body, they act more like metabolic sabotage. If you're going to eat ground meat, grind it yourself, or buy high-quality ground beef, turkey, or lamb from trusted sources. And finally, be careful with meat sauces, barbecue sauce, teriyaki glaze, honey garlic marinades. They often contain large amounts of sugar, corn syrup, or starch. Even a small drizzle can turn a healthy meat into a blood sugar disaster. Instead, use fresh herbs, garlic, lemon juice, olive oil, apple cider vinegar, or mustard. These flavorings enhance taste without hijacking your glucose. So what's the big takeaway? Meat isn't the enemy. Processed junk disguised as meat is. When you choose wisely and prepare your food with intention, meat becomes one of your greatest allies in the fight for stable blood sugar, steady energy, and long-term health. And the best part? You don't have to feel deprived. You don't have to eat bland, boring meals. You can enjoy rich flavors, satisfying textures, and real satiety, all while keeping your glucose in check. This isn't about restriction, it's about empowerment. You now have a blueprint, 7 meats that support your goals, clear strategies for preparation, and a deeper understanding of how food affects your body, not in theory, but in real life. And that leads us into the final part of this video, the emotional close and call to action. Because changing how you eat is one thing, but believing that you're capable of transformation, that's the real challenge. And it starts with one decision. If you've made it to this point, that already tells me something important about you. You care. You're not just watching passively. You're looking for real change, not just for your numbers, but for your life. And maybe up until now, you've felt overwhelmed. Maybe you've blamed yourself for not eating perfectly, or for not understanding all the conflicting advice out there. But let me remind you of something simple and powerful. It's not about being perfect. It's about being intentional. You don't need to follow a strict diet with rules and charts and complicated tracking. You just need to understand how your body works, and how to feed it in a way that supports stability, not chaos. And today, you've taken a big step toward that. You've learned which meats can actually help stabilize blood sugar. You've learned how different types of protein affect insulin sensitivity. You've seen that you can still enjoy rich, satisfying meals and still move toward better energy, better numbers, and better health. This isn't about fear. It's not about restriction. It's about freedom. Freedom to eat real food. Freedom to stop second-guessing every bite. Freedom to feel good in your body again. Not someday, but starting today. And if you're ready to go deeper, to see how thousands of others are naturally lowering their blood sugar, improving their energy, and taking control of their health, the answer is in the link in the description. You don't have to figure it all out alone. There's a path, there's a process, and it works. But the next move has to come from you. So take that step. And if this video helped you in any way, please let me know. Click the like button, leave a comment and share your experience, or ask your questions. And don't forget to subscribe. We're building something here. A place for real answers, real results, and real hope. You deserve to feel better. And it all starts with understanding what your body truly needs, one meal at a time.